Hey folks, welcome to a special update from ZoomOut with Totsa Says. What does Kevin Walsh mean for Trump 2.0? But before we get started, remember everything presented here is not investment advice. I'm biased, I have blind spots. This is for your entertainment only. Today, January 30th, Trump officially announced his pick for Fed Chair, Kevin Warsh. The Fed Chair is enormously powerful because the Federal Reserve is enormously powerful, not only for the US, but the global financial system. So it's important to look ahead and see what tendencies and biases this person has and what it might look like for the next 4 years. First, how has the market reacted to the news so far? Wall Street and central bankers around the world are generally saying that Kevin Walsh is capable and competent to be the next Fed chair. Having said that, stocks are down today, US Treasury bonds are down, and the dollar is appreciated in a flight to safety. The market doesn't really like his past hawkishness and is skeptical about his recent flip to dovishness. So let's take a look at Kevin Walsh and see if we can glean any insight into his future leadership. He's 55 years old this year. He's a Wall Street and Fed veteran. He got his BA in public policy at Stanford and later on his law degree at Harvard. He was appointed by Bush to be a Fed governor from 2006 to 2011 and has also been an advisor with the Druckenmiller family office. He is also the son-in-law to Roland Lauder of the Estee Lauder dynasty and who is a strong Trump supporter. Now, I don't know the guy personally, but Warsh seems to be like a fiscal conservative Republican in a similar vein to Besant. Both of them came out of the Druckenmiller pedigree and are well-connected, well-respected in macro investing and economics. Warsh is not an academic, which is very interesting. I think he straddles both the academic world and Wall Street pretty well, and that's why he's in this position now. Fed independence is the true issue surrounding Trump's pick for the Fed chair. Trump has repeatedly attacked and attempted to influence and or fire Fed governors and has not been shy in demanding the Fed cut rates. Naturally, Trump wants a loyalist running the Fed as well, but the market has clearly rejected Trump's attacks. Whenever Trump attacks, the market reacts negatively. Furthermore, the Supreme Court has yet to rule on whether Trump can fire Lisa Cook, a current Fed governor, but the rumor mill is saying that he cannot. By picking Kevin Warsh over Kevin Hassett, I think Trump has accepted the fact that installing a puppet like Kevin Hassett at the Fed would damage the markets and the support of fiscal conservatives. My gut says Kevin Warsh is not a Trump loyalist and will try to protect the Fed's independence. He does, however, believe that the Fed and Treasury need to coordinate their policy to manage the U.S. economy and the massive U.S. deficit, which continues to rise to an existential threat level. Kevin Warsh, in his previous stint as a Fed governor, was vocal about the exploding Fed balance sheet after the 2008 financial crisis and was always willing to fight inflation with higher interest rates. This tells me that he's willing to inflict short-term pain on the economy for longer-term balance and stability. But 15 years later, both the Fed balance sheet and the US deficit are even higher, and I think he wants to right-size monetary policy and stop the financial system from always expecting the Fed to come to the rescue. I think Warsh is still a monetary hawk, but sees that lowering interest rates are necessary to help the US deficit, while not having as much stimulatory impact on the economy as 20 years ago. So I think Warsh will try to lower the Fed funds rate, but knows that the FOMC may not agree with him to do so. He'll need to defend Fed independence to build that credibility within the voting members. Meanwhile, I think a Warsh Fed will maintain sufficient financial liquidity, but just enough, no more. And overall, this is bearish for risk assets. I just wanted to share with you the mechanics of a Fed decision. The FOMC meeting consists of 19 members, 7 Fed governors appointed by the president, and 12 Reserve Bank presidents selected by each of the regional reserve banks. Of the 19 members, only 12 can vote a year, and that's 7 Fed governors and a rotating 5 Reserve Bank presidents. In a power move by Powell and the Fed, they reappointed 11 of the 12 presidents for new 5-year terms that run into 2031, essentially locking in and empowering the Reserve Bank presidents to balance the politically appointed governors. This means that Warsh does not have carte blanche to dictate Fed policy. He can only persuade voting members. He cannot force them to vote with him. So we'll still need to fall back on inflation data for Warsh to be able to move the needle on a rate cut. The Fed fund rate is about 3.5% right now. I think we get a token 1 to 2 rate cuts to about 3% by the end of 2026, assuming that inflation doesn't blow out. I do think that inflation has a chance to rise in the first half of 2026, but could moderate towards the end of the year, allowing them to do a rate cut. Regardless, I don't think we're going to get rate cuts as soon as Warsh is put into Fed chair role in June. And for my final prediction, the Seahawks win the Super Bowl in a blowout against the Patriots, 38-17. Go Hawks! All right, that's all for now. Hope you've been entertained. Thanks for watching, and feel free to share this video and reach out to me with your thoughts and questions. Cheers.